So let's go ahead and give you some motivation. And you're going to be able to motivate yourself with this tool. I want to introduce to you the Student Retirement Calculator. First off, I'm not a financial planner, and this calculator at best just does some estimates. And you'll need to engage with financial professionals over time, and there's plenty of qualified people. But how do you get started? And how do you get motivated to do the right things from an early age? The Student Retirement Calculator is a simulator on what can happen, and it will serve you well to motivate and keep you in the game for making some early sacrifices to play for a very abundant long term. The Student Retirement Calculator estimates with some really cool graphics where you can end up when you're at whatever the retirement age that you plug into the calculator. It's my hope that this will serve as motivation for you to be wise with your money, to execute on a plan, and to start immediately with your first job. Okay, here's how it works. You go to LearnEarnRetire.com and you access the Student Retirement Calculator for free. It's going to ask you for your email address. Now, the reason we do that is not to bug you, not to sell your email address. We don't do that stuff. It's for the ability at the end, if you like the analysis, you hit print and it'll send a PDF to your mailbox. We'll also go ahead and include blogs that come to try to give you good advice, sound advice like you're getting on these videos. That will come out a couple times a week to you. Short, 3-minute read to keep your head in the game to do the right things both in career and for retirement. Okay, here we go. You either estimate how much you're going to be making right out of college and then what you're going to be making mid-career around age 42. For today's demonstration, I'm going to payscale.com. Now, this is the largest database of post-college compensation in the country. Okay, so payscale.com gets its information from alumni that have gone to the same school you have, and they ask them a lot of questions, and they can serve them in different ways. But for here, they do this thing called the College Salary Report, and we're showing you on the screen how you can go and access that. I'm going to use Ohio University as an example because that's where I teach. You can put in whatever school you want. This works for every 2-year institution in America and also 4-year institutions. If you find another way to estimate this information about where you're going to be right out of college and where you're going to be at around age 42, go ahead and use it. But this is a surefire way that works. Okay, so you enter first your early compensation. That's the median income. This is how they calculate median income for graduates like you, 0 to 5 years out. This is a good place to go ahead and get started, and it's likely that's what you're going to start in the ballpark as you enter your career. And then you want to go ahead and figure out where you're going to be at mid-career. The way they calculate that at PayScale is 10 years out or greater. And it's a good simulation. I've had some economic students look at it. And quite frankly, it comes down to around age 42, which is mid-career. And we're going to work in percentage. And the real good thing about working in percentages, because if you make more, the same lesson applies. And if you make less, the same lesson applies. So this will give you a feel for it. Just start with the averages, and then you can go ahead and tailor it and make it work for you. Now that we have this data, let's go back to the Student Retirement Calculator. You can run up to 5 different scenarios and compare results. The amount you contribute to your 401k or your Roth or your IRA or your brokerage account. Your retirement age, you can change that. And these are all your personal decisions. So as you go through, there's instructions on the calculator and work through it, but we're giving you an example today. Now answer some of the variables, and all the variable cells where you put in information are in yellow, so they jump out and you can go ahead and answer the questions. Now I'm going to warn you that this version currently, LearnEarnRetire.com, is very, very slow. We're currently developing a faster one, and that'll come shortly, but don't worry, it works. But you'll be pausing and go, I wonder if this is really working, but it will. Okay, there's a lot of code behind this. Just be patient. Now the variables that you're going to go ahead and plug in. What's your age? I put down as the default about 22. That's where most people join the workforce. If you decide to take 6 years to go to college versus 4 years to go to college, where you're going to be entering later. It's a good way to calculate just how expensive it is not getting out in 4 years. A lot of lessons there. And then we're going to go ahead and take a look at retirement age, retirement contributions, your starting amount in the 401k as a percentage of your comp. Your goal percentage, remember the experts say 12 to 15%. So I would start here with 15%. Now the calculator starts to work its magic. It says, If you're taking every raise that you get in the early years, and your employer is going to give you more money in the early years. Why? Because if they don't, you're going to jump to a competitor right after they got you trained, and it's expensive to get you up and running. So they give you some modest increases. If you were to push that to your 401k over time, usually in just a few years, you can go ahead and get the full power of compound interest working for you because you're going to get to that 15%. In this case, it took 3 years for that average student leaving Ohio University, if they follow the 6 steps, to pull this off. You'll be at your goal percentage, and now you can go ahead and increase your compensation, because every other raise, 85% comes to you for lifestyle, and naturally 15% goes away for your 401k. Now, add the information if your employer matches. At my first job prior to retirement, or less my last job prior to retirement, my employer matched 100% of my contributions up to 6% that I put in. That's easy money. So if the employer is matching anything, you've got to go to the top of the match. That's generally much more lucrative than even the returns you're going to get in the stock market. Now, the red column has a match that shows the employer's matching 100% of the first 6%. The blue column, there is no match. So let's say you join with an employer and they don't have a retirement vehicle. Well, what you do is you contact a financial institution and you set up an IRA or a Roth, and then you go ahead and you start funding it yourself. And I would take automatic contributions that get funneled to that either through your employer or through, online banking. You cannot ignore this. You've got to get the power of compound interest working behind you, and wait in a second, you're going to see how lucrative this is. Now, there are a series of graphs, and they show you your future potential. So first, a normal student with a normal career at Ohio University, following these steps, is going to go ahead and end up at about $3.5 to $5 million at retirement. This is unbelievable, but it's true. It's because you did things right and you got an early start. But with all due respect, what the hell do you know about $3.5 to $5 million? You don't know a damn thing about that. I mean, how would you spend it? Where would you put it? What would you do? Okay, now the calculator works a different way. It goes ahead and shows you how much you made last year in this graph versus what you can pay yourself in retirement. So your last year's earnings, it's safe for you to withdraw a decent amount. And in this case, it looks like if my employer had matched 100% of the first 6%, you'd have a 67% raise versus what you were making when you were pulling a paycheck that you're paying for yourself in retirement. And that goes on for as long as you live. If you didn't have the match, you still get about a 17% raise. Now remember, this will spend larger because by now, if you've done things right and you've listened to what we teach on this website, you've eliminated all debt. You don't have a mortgage debt anymore. You don't have any consumer debt anymore. You don't have any auto debt anymore. So that money is going to spend large, and it's going to be great. Well, wait a minute. Doesn't this sound a little too good to be true? Won't I run out of money at some point? No, actually you won't. We modeled this as well, and there's more detail on the calculator, and please read through that. But you won't run out, and you take a look at the amount that you'll accumulate over time. Your wealth will grow slower because you're extracting money, but you will not run out of money. You're not cutting into principal. Now, there's a lot more to know. You need to know the rate of return in the market and what's going to be the amount you're going to take out and why you're going to take it out and all that. Read the instructions on the calculator, and a lot of those questions will be answered. And remember, there's no guarantees. This illustrates the possibilities, but here's what you do. You have to start early. You have to have a plan. You have to stay with it. You have to avoid financial pitfalls and roadblocks and potholes. But you want to know something? You can do this. You can create multi-million-dollar wealth with average compensation and average career. You can do it. Run that calculator, send a PDF to yourself, put that on the wall, and then when you're running towards that, you're running towards a very, very rich life. You can do it.